Good evening. Welcome to Mi Gente on Air, the show that brings you week to week Latino connections and Latino concerns and culture. And although we targeted this show to the Latino community, we have a lot of non-Latinos that are listening as well. So we want to welcome everybody to come into the room. And if you've got a comment, concern, please put it in there and we will try to address it. I have a great show lined up for you today. And I'm excited because we are going into October. Tomorrow's already October. So when this airs, we will fully be in October in the fall months. And hopefully the leaves will change soon and we'll be able to really, look at the leaves on the highways as you're coming in and seeing how God landscapes that paint all throughout the world. So we want to thank everybody for coming in and being with us here tonight as we talk about these Latino concerns for our community. So come on into the room. And we welcome you to Mi Gente on Air.
Welcome to Mi Gente on Air on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com. Now, here is your host, Larry Rodarte.
Good evening. Welcome to Mi Gente on Air. I am your host, Larry Rodarte. It is a pleasure to be here tonight as we welcome in to the new month of October. We say goodbye to September. And can you believe already it's October in 2025? In 2 months, we're going to be going into the holiday seasons. Well, sooner than that. But 2026 is just around the corner. And, so much is going on in our community day to day throughout the world, throughout the nation. And here in Saginaw, there's some great things that are happening as well. And we're going to talk about an event that's happening October 16th with the Saginaw Promise. And then we're going to talk about the medical diamond that's coming to the city of Saginaw. So there's so much that we have to talk about. And my guest today is the city manager, Mr. Tim Morales, as well as Deb Sanchez, who is the executive director of the Saginaw Promise. So please help me welcome Deb and Tim to Mi Gente on Air. How are you guys?
Very well.
Great.
All right. So what is new? I first want to say what is new with the Saginaw Promise, because year after year, there's always something. And I know last year was the milestone year where we hit the $1 million mark. So what's happening now with the Saginaw Promise in 2025?
$1,350,000.
All right.
But actually, we've surpassed that now too. The new number will be out definitely this fall. What's really new and exciting for the Promise is that we recently just submitted an amendment to our development plan to the state treasury. And what that will allow us to do once it's approved is to broaden our options for funding. We'll be able to fund beyond tuition. Our hope is with this plan being approved that we will be able to fund housing, supplies, books, you name it, the cost of attendance.
Now, is that something that is happening to many of the other promises that are happening throughout the United States?
Well,
is that unique to Saginaw?
That would be unique to Michigan.
Oh, okay.
I can't say, because in Michigan, we're rather unique in that we have an association, in that we are able to gather as promise zones and communicate with one another. And what happened was the state legislature actually changed the law, allowing us to fund other things, giving us that option and giving us the opportunity. And they did that. And so now we've been rewriting and reviewing and making sure that we're doing all of the things correctly on this amended plan. And it was approved by our board, and Tim is one of our board members. Okay. So we just approved it. And so now it has been sent to the state treasury.
So thanks to Lansing, this is kind of happening in the state of Michigan for the promises.
We are excited.
Zones.
Yes. That was something that was taken to the Appropriations Committee, to the House. The Senate approved it first, then the House. And now we're on our way as far as sending it for Saginaw. So it would be other promise zones are also going through the development plan amendment too. Some are not, some are waiting, but others like us are definitely going forward with this.
So Deb, tell me and tell my listeners that may not understand what exactly is the Saginaw Promise, because we kind of rushed into this opening of the show. And I think there may be listeners out there that are saying, what are they talking about? So let's talk. What is the actual Saginaw Promise?
The Saginaw Promise is an economic initiative. It was started as a way to look at what could we do to impact the economy and the quality of life in Saginaw. And when we looked at that, this program was actually taken in spirit from the Kalamazoo Promise.
Right.
We liked what they were doing, and they were showing results. And so the thought was, what if we had a place-based scholarship? This scholarship is based on the geographic footprint of the Saginaw Public School District. So we take in those students who live in and attend school in the cities of Saginaw, Zwaukee, Kochville, and that area of Buena Vista are eligible for the Promise because they live here and they're attending school and they will graduate from a high school. And so by really concentrating on investing, we give out a scholarship. Right now, our scholarship to four-year schools is $4,000 a year. To community college.
Wow.
That is mandated by the state, whatever it takes to get them to their associate degree.
Wow, that's great. And so, as we mentioned earlier, the $1 million mark happened last year in 2025, that there's been $1 million worth of scholarships that have affected students in Saginaw. And now we're at $1,350,000.
And we can do so much more, Larry.
Yeah.
Because of all the funding that is coming out for tuition, like the community colleges, and even affecting some of the four-year university students, we're finding that tuition may not be needed. However, with the change in our development plan, there are still housing costs, there are supply costs, there are books costs that students need funding with. Well, now we're going to be able to address those needs, whereas before, until this gets approved, but right now we're restricted to solely tuition. But we're hoping that that's going to be lifted before winter semester. And if we can get our plan and everything is approved by the state, then we'll be able to look at funding them starting in the winter term for books, housing, you name it.
So is it per term, or is it actually one time a year where students can apply for this scholarship?
Well, application is made once a year. That is done in November. It'll open up again. We ask our students to use the Saginaw Community Foundation Scholarship application, which will open November 1st, and it will be due February 13th of 2026.
Oh.
And once they complete that, then we go through the process of reviewing and making sure that they are residents, that they are attending school, that they are a high school graduate. And then at that point, payments begin, and payments are made both for fall, winter semester. It depends. If they don't need us in the fall but can use us in the winter semester, fine. But they're good for 2 semesters. Wow. So even if they use it in the summer, that scholarship is theirs to use. And they have up to 6 years from the time they graduate to use their Saginaw Promise Scholarship, which is good for 2 years. 2 semesters for 2 years. We will help our students and assist them to get started with their education or to continue their education.
All right. You hear that, Saginaw? Now, this is for Saginaw County.
Saginaw, well, actually, it's the cities.
The city of Saginaw, but you mentioned like Buena Vista and...
Well, that part of Buena Vista that was designated to the Saginaw Public School District. You know how the school system closed, and then it was broken into 3 parts for Frankenmuth, Bridgeport, and Saginaw. So those students who are residing in that area that's designated to the Saginaw Public School District would be eligible.
And how many years have you been involved now?
Boy, I was a volunteer for 5 years, and then I was part of that time. I was the vice chair. And then I was just a person who was attending meetings and assigned to committees. So that was probably about 5 years. Now I have been the director for 11 years.
Holy cow.
I know.
11
Time
years
flies.
Time has really flown. Well, we have to bring Tim into the conversation
please.
As a board member. Excuse me. How has it been? How long have you been a board member of the Saginaw Promise?
Since this summer.
This summer.
Yep.
Oh, so you're relatively new. Okay. And how'd you get dragged into that?
Well, well, I think it's a great initiative, and we've had Deborah come to council many years. Usually, I think annually she comes, particularly on Student Government Day, to talk about the program so the students can hear, hey, this is something that I can utilize for my further education. So we knew the program. It's a great program, and Deborah, Mayor Seals, and Dr. Thorns came to see me with a general topic of, hey, we want to talk about the Saginaw Promise, and they asked if I would serve on the board. So I'm happy to. I think it's a great initiative for the students. It's a great opportunity for them to get into secondary education and to see what they want to do with the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm. Have we seen any correlation in the number of individuals who have graduated that have received scholarships, and have you've seen utilize and in their education and then come to Saginaw and seen any, what we said in the beginning in terms of, returning the investment?
We can't, I can't qualify it, but I do know of students who have come back to the area and they're working and starting businesses in the area.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
Yeah, because now it's at least 15 years, correct?
Yes.
And it just seems like yesterday that we started it in Saginaw, the Saginaw Promise. I remember Magic Johnson coming to the Temple Theater, and that was in the very first 5 years.
2012 was our very first year.
Wow.
I wasn't on the board, but I was a committee. I was involved, and I remembered when the board voted that, okay, this is the year we're going to give out the scholarships. The next big question was, okay, how do we raise the money?
Yeah.
And luckily, Magic Johnson had just spoken about coming to Saginaw, and he said, I'm not just coming to do business, I'm coming here to fundraise. And we said, okay, let's approach him and see if he'll help us. And he did. And he actually came back 5 times for us.
Wow.
It was
I didn't
great.
realize that many times.
It
I know
was
I got my
that
picture
many.
with him over at the Temple.
He was very generous and very supportive.
Yeah, that's awesome. And to think that, Kalamazoo was the first city, and now there's at least 5 cities in Michigan.
Actually, there are more.
More now?
Larry, they are now 14 promise zones in the state of Michigan.
But we were one in the top 5, right?
We were part of the top 10. They recruited 10 people to be in that first group, and we were one of the first to be approached. Mayor Seals was actually contacted when she was in Washington, D.C., and told about this program and that they would like Saginaw to be a part of it. So, so that started actually in 2009. We became a promise zone. They had to go through all the process of making sure what the parameters would be, what would be the requirements, all of that. And so by 2012, they were ready.
Wow. It's already been 15 years since that started, then since 2009. So here we are, and every year you have these nice events.
Yes.
At the Horizon Center, and we're planning on October 16th.
Yes.
Which seems to be really a dynamic panel that's going to be there. The individuals that you have there, from Ken Horn and Dr. Shaheen, Tim Morales.
You're right. And of course, Dr. Roberts will be speaking. I think John Kaczynski will be there as well. We've really recruited, and this was really with Tim's help, that we were able to look at an issue or a topic that not a lot of people knew about, but is very dynamic and very important for our community and for our economy. And we said, hey, this is what we're about. Let's highlight them at our event. Yeah. And with Tim's help, we identified people that were key to the committee that's working on this.
So, Tim, we hear about this, and people have heard about it, but there's not too much knowledge about it, at least in terms of what I have gathered. So, and I've been away for a while, but tell us all about this medical diamond, because this is really exciting for Saginaw.
Yeah, it's a great new development that we have coming downtown, but it's really bigger than that. And a lot of these projects take years and years to come to fruition, and we're getting to that point where we're seeing earth being moved down there, but it goes back 20 plus years. Dr. Shaheen had identified utilizing the medical industry to help redevelop downtown Saginaw, and I shared that vision for years. And really the diamond concept is actually a diamond shape, starting with the Dow Event Center downtown, and then our 2 medical centers, Covenant and now My Michigan Health, and then ending in the area of the Y, the park system. So it encompasses the whole area. The development that we're talking about primarily, and when we talk about this, centers on medical education and medical care. So it creates that hub downtown with hopefully a concentration of new employees and people coming downtown to help revitalize the area, not only to help improve health outcomes for Saginaw and really our entire region, but also redevelop our urban core, create opportunities for small businesses to start and thrive, the ones that are currently there, with more people living and coming to downtown. So it's really exciting. The city of Saginaw, with some help from a lot of partners, we worked with the Chamber of Commerce and Veronica Horn when she was there at the Chamber, and Senator Ken Horn worked with us. He's with Great Lakes Bay Regional Alliance, Dr. Shaheen, Saginaw County, Chairman Boyd when he was the chair of the county board, and Saginaw Future. I don't want to leave anyone out. It was a big group working on it, but we were able to secure funding from the state of Michigan with the help from our Representative Amos O'Neill and Senator McDonald Rivette when she was there, and we were awarded $30 million from the state of Michigan for the infrastructure and the park part of our project. And then we were also awarded $3.3 million in federal funds from the federal government with the help of Congressman Kildee at the time.
Wow, that's amazing. But that's like a huge undertaking that is, there's really hope for, downtown Saginaw and that whole area. And, I'm old enough to remember old downtown Saginaw as a kid when it was really thriving before the Fashion Square Mall. And so I've seen that, and I've always hoped that it would come back in some capacity, because I think that's really what Saginaw is needing right now. And it's going to be in correlation and conjunction with the Central Michigan University and their program with the medical field.
We're working with several entities. We're still in discussions and talking, working with Central Michigan. Their board has to do all of that in the internal university workings. They're working through that, and we're willing to help them any way we can. We're working with Saginaw Valley State University, who is, and John Kaczynski is going to be part of our panel for SVSU, but they are very committed to being down there and furthering their Health Alliance allied health programs that they have, and working with our medical centers and the Saginaw County Health Department and any other educational institutions. So one thing we also noted, I guess I'll back up a little bit, but Saginaw, the city of Saginaw has a concentration of health services, especially north of Flint. It's really the major concentration of health services. So we have that here, but we thought about how can we expand that, particularly with education, but also how do we make sure people are receiving the services that they need. And we found from the COVID 2020 year that we had a severe lack of behavioral health services in this area. So our city council allocated $5 million of our ARPA fund to Great Lakes Bay Health to create a behavioral health center. And that's going to be part of this development too. And we're really, it's great. And we're really happy with them because they're going way beyond that. That was a goal of ours through ARPA, was to increase that capacity for mental health treatment and assistance, but they're talking about general services in that area, pharmacy services, and so on for the people who are their patients. So that's really exciting. SVSU really jumped in and is very committed to improving their health education and moving that downtown, or not moving, but expanding it downtown and providing those opportunities for their students. We're still talking to CMU, and we also will have private development there.
Oh, nice. So when Vision 2020 took place, well, that was in the year 2000. So was this was that program, because I remember there was a lot of leaders involved. I was even involved. Did that have any effect at the genesis of this medical diamond 5 years later? When you mentioned 20 years back, we're talking 2005 then. And I remember that whole time period. And so I don't remember discussions about the medical diamond at that point, but I know that there was more of a need in the medical field, and that we were beyond Flint. We were like the hub of where everybody comes down from the northern part of the peninsula. And so how did that develop into what we're seeing today as this plan goes forward?
So I think that's related. And
because you weren't here yet,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
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 I started working for the city in 2009. I was the CFO for the city, and then I became the city manager in 2013. So I wasn't here, and it sounds like that would be the genesis of trying to tie all these things together. And you go back and you look at you see these steps that really built towards this, that a lot of people have worked on in the communities. So you've seen the expansion at the Dow Event Center, that Saginaw County, I think, spent over $10 million on that expansion during the Memorial Cup. But before that, even you had saving the Temple Theater. That was in a state of disrepair.
I remember that too.
And that's kind of the top of at that diamond, whatever the genesis was of the shape and the language around it. I think that people in Saginaw have had that goal for a number of years. Let's build some gems in Saginaw where it makes it more attractive to develop. And you have in that area, if you just look at all the things, a lot of it's community driven, because you have the Temple Theater. That was a project that a lot of people worked on, and the Shaheen family kind of spearheaded that, but it's a nonprofit now. You have the Children's Museum, which is another nonprofit. Right. You have the Art Museum, another nonprofit. The Zoo, which is a nonprofit that was once owned by the city, which was spun off into a nonprofit. And you have our central parks at the bottom of the diamond, and the YMCA. So you have all of these all this community investment that people in Saginaw have been doing probably for more than 25 years in the making, that are really the core of that area. Now, how do we get people to be engaged down there? And I know I hear some of the historical items. When Larry Kalouris was on our council, he used to tell me, well, at my restaurant, I would do 3 lunches a day because so many people work downtown. And then you saw that changes, probably, as you mentioned, Larry, from the when the mall opened. And that's the story of a lot of downtowns. But how do we re-engage that? And I think that probably goes back to the Project 2020 and beyond, and how it's evolved over the years.
Yeah. Well, we're going to come back out of commercial. We're going to talk more about the event on October 16th. That is going to be a fundraiser for the Saginaw Promise. We'll be right back. No te vayas. So there you have it. We're talking about an important topic for the city of Saginaw downtown, the medical diamond that's going to be happening, as well as the fundraiser event that's happening for the Saginaw Promise. And if you haven't heard about the Saginaw Promise and actually all that it is doing to help the area in regards to bringing education to many of our students in the area, this is the show. Tell your family, your friends to listen. This will be aired on Saturday as well as Sunday on the weekend on 100.5 FM and 790 AM, 8 o'clock on Sunday. And so we're really excited to bring this information to you today on Mi Gente on Air. So if you got any questions or concerns, please put them in the room. We will try to address them, and we'll talk more with Deb and Tim Morales from the city of Saginaw.
This is Mi Gente on Air on WSGW.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Mi Gente on Air, and thank you for joining us here today. We are at the end of September while we tape this. October 1st is tomorrow, and this week we're going to celebrate the changing of the weather, believe it or not, because it's supposed to be hot this weekend, and hopefully during the cold spell, I think it's going to be about 3 days, the leaves will start changing for us, because they really haven't. I was on I-75 today, and I didn't see too much leaves change. And that's always something that I look forward to when you're driving down to Detroit and you can see the colors and all. I didn't see any of that. So there's so much happening, the Detroit Tigers, as well as the Lions and the fall colors. And October 16th, we've got an event here in the city of Saginaw. It's going to be at the Horizons Center and Horizons Event Center, and it's a fundraiser for the Saginaw Promise. Can you tell us any more of what's happening with this? Because that's your event, your baby, Deb.
Yes, yes. Well, really, we use this event as an opportunity to give updates and to kind of show some outcomes. And we're going to have some interesting numbers to talk about attainment and seeing what our students have done to attain degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sharing some of that with with our chair, Joyce Seals, this morning, and it's going to be a surprise. But we'll be sharing that with the board and with the community on that day, and then of course we'll get it out in the community as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned the board. We've mentioned Tim Morales, the city
yeah.
manager's on the board. Tell us who else is on the board, just so
Sure.
that we get a feel for who's actually spearheading this whole Saginaw Promise.
We do. It's a board of 11 people, and that's mandated by the state too.
Mm-hmm.
That how many people can be on the board. But you've got Joyce Seals, former mayor, David Gomez, former health administrator, Ken Fettig, who is with Saginaw Valley, a vice president of enrollment management. I think it's enrollment and management of students. And then you also have Cynthia Reyes, Delta College admissions.
Oh,
yeah. You also have Bishop Alvernis Johnson with Kingdom Life Ministries. Michael Colby, president of Isabella Bank. Laura Yaki, who is with First State Bank. And Dr. Mamie Thorns from Saginaw Valley State University. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to forget anyone. Mark Johnston, my annual golf chair. He's with, actually the company has changed from Merrill Technology to Keel USA. And I don't want to miss anyone. I'm missing somebody
she's not reading this. She's actually coming out of her head. I could never remember that many people.
I'm looking at my roster in my head too, and making sure. Oh, of course, Scott Reed with Edward Jones. And so I hope I have not missed anyone, but yeah, it's a great board. And as Joyce likes to say, it's a working board. In fact, Tim Morales and Bishop Alvernis Johnson are the co-chairs for this event.
Oh, wow.
And so we've been meeting regularly and going over things. And just as he's sharing information with this group today, Alvernis and I are always at these meetings getting more excited about the medical diamond and what's happening.
Yeah.
Because again, this program, the Saginaw Promise, was formed to really be an economic initiative.
Right.
Get the community going, support it through education.
So it kind of goes hand in hand with
exactly.
the Saginaw Medical
and this is a benefit for people who live in this area.
Sure.
It's a benefit to stay in the area and to grow the population. And so that's really exciting. And so that's what this initiative is about. And so with this event, it helps people get involved with us to know more about the Saginaw Promise, also to support the Saginaw Promise.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of money to give out to students. And so we appreciate the fundraisers. We do a golf outing and we do the Power of a Promise. Those are our two fundraisers that we do annually.
So ultimately, the goal is for the Saginaw Promise to have more opportunity to raise funds through the years to give back to the Saginaw, downtown Saginaw City. And when we look at the trajectory of Saginaw, say from the time when I mentioned about when it was a thriving downtown area, and we have seen, a big loss of population from that time to today. Yeah. Tim, do you see that this is now something where we can say this city is on the upswing with what's going to transpire, say, in the next 5 years?
Yeah, and that's part of our goal as well. And, there's a project that Great Lakes Bay Regional Alliance is doing to improve population region-wide, and we want to see that in the city. The city has a lot of room for growth. We have a lot of possibilities for expansion, and we're seeing that already. And you see the excitement of the potential here at the Medical Diamond has, I think, created a buzz where there is more interest in downtown and Old Town, and we can't forget about Old Town being in part of that diamond as well. But you're going to see a lot more projects, and I think a lot more residential projects too, which bring people in to live in the city. We have a couple of development agreements currently with buildings that are vacant downtown that are city owned, that are under due diligence right now. The Behringer Building's one of them.
Oh yeah.
And that one company is looking at to do residential and commercial. Now it's something they're still studying, but we're hoping that when they see this action, it does make it much more attractive.
Sure.
There's another old apartment building that is on Millard. That is, I think it's 505 Millard is the address, but that's been vacant for years, and that one was sold by the city to a developer who's working to rehab that. And I think
That's by the Board of Ed.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep, it's right in that area. We'll have some new buildings going up in Old Town. Probably you'll see groundbreaking this fall. So that's all
Wow.
residential development. And one of the goals, and Deborah and Mayor Seals and Dr. Thorns talked about this when we met, but a lot of these goals are very similar to the Saginaw Promise, because we want people who are educated in Saginaw to stay in Saginaw too. And that's a big driver for a lot of organizations, because we need the population here and we need the services. So if they're getting educated at SVSU and Allied Health, we need those people here. So bring them downtown, get them involved in the community, and get them to love Saginaw, whether they're from Southeast Michigan, West Michigan, or from here. Get them to move here and stay here. And we can't forget that the final 2 years of the CMU Medical School are already in Saginaw.
Yeah.
And I think one of their goals in doing that was bring medical professionals to our region. And it's not, you see a lack of medical services in some urban core areas like Saginaw, but also rural areas in the thumb and heading north of us. So there's a huge need for that. So there's not only the opportunity to learn here, but also to stay here and develop a career. So that's what we are trying to encourage and grow that population.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the baby boomers are getting of age, and so there's definitely more medical needs that are happening that we're seeing. But I do remember, like, when even the CMU connected with Covenant in the Bancroft Hotel. Remember how there was a lot of need for housing at that time, and I know that even some of the doctors and all that, they were actually moving in there, and then we had some development there for a little bit with the bourbon bar, and and that's coming back as well. So I mean, this is really positive for Saginaw, and so many times Saginaw gets knocked here and there or whatever, and it's I've always been a proponent for Saginaw. This is home for me. And you talk about Old Town, I mean, that's exactly where I'm at. So anything that is developing in Old Town, I love it, because when I first moved back to Saginaw from Detroit in 1996, it's vastly different from then to today. Whereas there's a lot happening today, in terms of restaurants and all. And Wonder Burger just came in and is in, I forget the name of the place there, but they're on Adams there in Michigan, where the Arden Whitney flour.
Old Town Distillery.
Yes, the Old Town Distillery.
Yes.
And they have the other place too. And so the names are confusing to me, but there's a lot of activity just in that and what they're doing. They just had Loteria night, there, and it was very popular. And I think they're looking to have different events that are going to bring people to Old Town. So that's the good thing, for all of us.
Most definitely. And I think another thing too, when you're downtown, and I've worked downtown, I think since I moved back home, for the most part. And what do I see? Lots of activities where I hear music, that's coming, the outdoor venues that we have, Friday Night Live. And then look at the big investment that our community made in education, with the new high school and the gifted and talented campus, the new elementary school, the high school there for SASA. And then you've got the new middle school that was, it was actually the Saginaw High School now is the East Side, and it's a middle school. Those are investments that people made, trusting that, yes, we need to invest in education for the future. And that was a big, big gift. When you think of $100 million, that doesn't happen every day.
Yeah.
that a community votes to invest like that.
Yeah. And I was at the SVRC this last weekend.
Mhm.
They have the upstairs where they have the offices and
Yes.
that kind of area where you can have little gatherings and stuff. And I was looking out through the window, and I could see Saginaw United in the river, and I just thought, wow, this is beautiful. This has really come a long way from, and the neat thing is that it's continually growing in Saginaw, I think. And I'm a big proponent, like I said, but also involved as a board member with the Saginaw the Castle Museum. And like they're always trying to do, I mean, that is probably one of the best museums I've seen. And I've seen a lot, even in Europe and all. But if you look at what the staff, what they do, I'm very proud of them because they've come a long way as well. And it's a great museum. If you haven't been there in a while, go to the Saginaw Castle Museum because that is such a gem in our community, that whole building to be still in existence in Saginaw, built in the late 1800s. And they're doing a great job there. So I'm really happy to see that. And, even the Great Mural Project, with the murals that have come downtown, and they're continually doing
the
work.
silos.
Yeah, the silos. That was amazing when that happened because I never had seen where people were coming to Saginaw from out of Saginaw area just to see the art there. And then whenever I had friends from out of the city that they would come, it was like, bragging, look what we got here now. I would take them right down there. So there's a lot happening for Saginaw in the last few years.
There is. And I'd like to just mention something that we did recently. We actually hosted the other Promise Zones. They came to Saginaw. That was the first time they traveled this far north for a meeting.
Wow.
And we actually held it at the Anderson Enrichment Center.
So you took them to the silos?
They saw them as they drove by because they had to
yeah.
go that road because of the road construction. And so they saw that, but they also saw the water and they saw the Anderson Enrichment
Wait, was
Center.
that the September 18th event?
Yes.
And
I
was
were
supposed to cook to that, but I was back from Italy.
I asked Larry because I wanted to give him a taste of great Mexican cooking, and but they were very thrilled with the building. They were thrilled with the premises, and so we have a lot to showcase, and I think that's something that we all as citizens and residents need to do. And look at Tim does something too with the city of Saginaw where they have I don't think it's every month, but they do a citywide meeting where they bring in people and they invite us to come in to listen to what's new or what's happening in a particular area. And those have been very informative.
Yeah, I just got the invitation today for the next one.
October 8th.
Yes.
It's just listening to you two talk, and I mentioned some of those attractions or community assets in the Medical Diamond, and you said two that I left out, the Castle Museum and the Anderson Center. So there's so much that goes on that sometimes you don't even think of everything that's down there. But I totally agree with you both that especially this summer, Old Town, if you went down there Thursday, Friday night, it was busy. People were out later, and I think you're going to see more to come. There's been some building sales down there too that are going to be, I don't want to announce things for other organizations or other people, but you're going to see some new things open up that are going to bring more people down and make it so that people think, wow, this is a even cooler place to live now because there are these amenities here that if I live down the street, I can walk to this, or if I live in Saginaw, it's a short drive. And I think you're going to see that downtown when we start to see more of this Medical Diamond development. We already have, as you mentioned, Larry, where the Bourbon and Co. was. That's going to be a new place. It's opening very soon. We know the Savoy is opening back up. So we have these businesses that even people might have retired or they closed, but those are coming back, I think, with some of this anticipation. So we want to see as many people downtown that we were seeing in Old Town now. And part of the city's project in the Medical Diamond, because people, we don't control what private development there is or what other educational institutions are doing or those things. We want to make it attractive for them to develop and help them and make it easier to develop. But our investment there with the funding from the state of Michigan and the federal government is to build a new riverfront park. And we're working with a nationally renowned, one of the largest female-owned landscape architect firms in the country. It's called Scape. They worked with us on the initial layout of the medical, not the entire medical diamond, but that there from AT&T south of there. And now they're designing our park there. And it's really amazing to see what they have done and who they've engaged. They've met with students at Saginaw United multiple times. They met with the Native American tribe here to learn about the history and see how can they weave that into the park. They looked at the history of the lumber industry and that in Saginaw and the automotive industry. So they're very good at design, and there will be little things in the park that are callbacks to the Native American history or the lumber history in Saginaw and some of those other things that people talked about. So they got a lot of input. They had multiple listening sessions downtown. So we're going to have a great park down there, and we're going to be ready to have stuff built.
Wow.
And right now
awesome.
they're burying power lines down there, so that'll be moved, and then more work should start next year.
Wow. Did you hear that? That's awesome. And you mentioned the Behringer building, and I always I remember when there was a cafe in there, and when it was thriving and all, and then you seen in the last few years where it wasn't. But I always see it. I always look at it when we have the Cinco de Mayo in downtown at the Jolt Credit Union Event Park, because we're right on. We have our food trucks kind of lined up on the side of that, and I always thought, man, if they could only do something with this building, and we could add on to the whole area there. And I think that's really one of the things that I feel that Saginaw is lacking downtown is more restaurants, and also hopefully the ripple effect of what is going to happen with the Dow or the medical diamond, that ripple effect will bring in more business for people to be able to eat downtown more. And the ones that are opening, like the Savoy, such a gem as well for downtown. And even, when we talk about food and all, we talk about the Hunger Center and what they just did. I went to the groundbreaking for that, and Jim Dwyer and Diane over there, to be able to expand that facility for Saginaw County is going to be wonderful as well.
Yeah. And that's another ARPA funded project.
Yeah, exactly.
The council allocated, I think, around $1 million to that. And also the food club project that is being built downtown. I think they're still fundraising, but that's an interesting concept, a little bit different. It's not a standard grocery store, but it's a facility that can help people that don't have a place to shop, and there's special programs there. That's a great topic that another council member just asked me about. But it's not a city project, but they have their own board, and Tina Swanton is, I think, the director of that. But they're working hard, and I went by there a few months ago and was shocked to see how much of the building they have there already.
Wow, that's exciting. That's really exciting. So, that's a lot of positivity for Saginaw. And I think we have to be all ambassadors for the city, to not always focus on what is happening in the negative aspect of it, but more so tenfold in the positivity of what's happening in Saginaw. And there's a lot. So I hope my listeners can hear that. We only have 2 minutes left in the show, and I want you just to recap on October 16th what's going to happen and who is going to be speaking there as well.
Yes, we will definitely be giving updates for our program and outcomes, and some exciting news about what students are doing and attaining with degrees and so forth. But we have Dr. Samuel Shaheen, Senator Ken Horn, Tim Morales will be there, John Kaczynski, and Dr. Roberts. And they make up a panel of 5, and the moderator will be Art Lewis. And so, Art is really good at asking questions, and we've come up with some questions too. And so that'll be an opportunity to not only showcase our program, but to talk about this initiative that's coming to Saginaw and the implications of what that has for the impact of our community. Also, people can go to our website. They can go to saginawpromise.org, and they can download our media kit, which will give them that opportunity to purchase tickets. They can also telephone our office, which is 989-607-1441. and happy to, I hope, no, I did not. I mixed up the numbers. It's a new phone number. We recently moved it earlier
let's
this
give
year.
it again. Give it
989-607-3428 is the phone number. So please do call us. Happy to have you come and attend. It's going to be an exciting program. We also have Jeremy Cornelius, who's a very good saxophone player.
Oh,
He'll be
nice.
welcoming people into the program when they're arriving.
All right. All right. Well, I'm definitely going to try to make it there on October the 16th. Tim, anything final words from you?
I would just say anybody interested in getting involved in things downtown, come to the city and learn more. We have our citywide meetings coming up, and we have a lot of staff there. And we're always looking for new developers to work with. If people have business ideas, we have the SCDC that can help with small business loans too. So reach out and see what we have to offer. And if you're interested in getting involved, just let us know.
All right. All right. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me tonight. We had a lot of information. I really encourage all of you to look back at the live feed here, the live stream on social media, and go through the program, until you understand everything that's being said, because there's quite a bit there packaged into this show. So thank you, everybody, for being with me here on Mi Gente on Air week after week. And I just thank you for the support and the love. And we'll see you next week here on Mi Gente on Air. And we're back. We're still here on the social media platform. We just want to thank Tim Morales, the city manager, as well as Deb Sanchez from the Saginaw Promise. They've got a lot going on October 16th. If you can still buy tickets. And Deb, I'm going to give you the opportunity one more time. Give the right number so that people can buy tickets for this event.
Thank you. Yes, they can call 989-607-3428. They can also go online and look at our events page on our website, and that will give them some more detailed information about the event. And there's also means for downloading a form to purchase tickets by mail too, but they can easily call me and we can arrange that as well too.
Yeah, and what a panel that's going to be there October 16th. That's really exciting.
It's going to be a wonderful panel, and that's something that, we can give information on something that's coming to Saginaw that some people are not aware of. And we really want our whole community to be aware of this and to be talking about it.
Yeah.
And so those who come to the event can go out and share some of this information that they glean from our panel.
Yeah, and it's nice because this is a group of individuals that go hand in hand with the work that the Saginaw Promise is doing. I know that every year you have someone come in and you center it around that individual or what have you, but this is like really Saginaw at its best, and we're going to showcase what's coming up for our community in the city. So that's awesome.
Right. That's right. And last year we were lucky enough. Well, thank you. And last year we showcased Saginaw United.
Yeah,
that's where we held our event last year. So it was great.
So everybody, thank you again for being with us, and a great show, and spread the word of all the positivity that's happening in Saginaw. We'll see you next week on Mi Gente on Air.